Welcome to SivaLabs. In this video, we are going to learn how to get started with generative AI based applications using Java and LangChain4j library. We are going to use large language models like OpenAI, and we are going to see how to use open source LLMs like Ollama. We are going to briefly talk about what is generative AI and what are the some use cases that we can leverage generative AI. And then we are going to explore OpenAI API documentation to see how we can interact with the OpenAI large language model. And then we are going to explore what is LangChain4j and how we are going to use LangChain4j to talk to the OpenAI. And finally, we are going to see, instead of using OpenAI, there is an open source model called Ollama, and we will see how we can use LangChain4j to talk to the Ollama LLM model. Let's get started. A large language model refers to a type of artificial intelligence model that is designed to understand human-like natural language and then respond with an answer. And these models are trained on a very large, massive data sets to understand wide variety of type of communications and then usage patterns and context and different semantics of the languages. So you can interact with these large language models in a natural conversation style, so that it will automatically understand what you are trying to convey, and then it can respond to your questions accordingly. So some of the popular large language models are like we have OpenAI and Google's Vertex, and then there is Azure OpenAI. There are some open source LLM models like Ollama, Hugging Face, etc. So where we are going to use this generative AI. So when we talk about generative AI, maybe we want to generate some text, or we want to generate content like image, videos, things like that. So where can we use this generative AI technology? So first thing is content generation. So you can ask questions, and then LLM models like OpenAI or Vertex, they can provide a lot of text explaining and providing the answers to your questions. Also, we can describe what kind of an image we want to generate, and based on the input, these LLMs can generate the images or even videos, things like that. And also, we can apply generative AI for language translation. Let's say you have a document in certain language and you want to translate it to a different language. So these LLMs can help in doing that. And also, you can build chatbots so that they can provide assistance automatically instead of using humans to answer the questions. And also, some of the LLM models are trained to generate code. So you can ask, okay, how do we do this in certain language? And they can understand that question and they can generate the code for you. And also, one of the main area of using LLMs, generative AI, is text analysis. You can input a large set of text in terms of files, or you can provide text documents or PDFs or anything like that, and then you can ask to summarize or provide some statistics about what are all the text you have in those documents. So these LLMs can understand all these inputs and then analyze and then answer to your questions. So these are some of the areas that we can leverage generative AI technology. ChatGPT is more like a front end for the backend OpenAI APIs. So if you haven't already created an account, you can go ahead and sign up with your email and password, or you can log in with the Google or Microsoft or Apple accounts. I have already created my account, so I'm going to log in with my credentials. And once I log in, I'll be redirected to chat.openai.com. So here I can ask any questions, and then OpenAI will try to respond to my question. So here I can ask, what are the movies directed by Quentin Tarantino? So here I asked the question in a natural language. I didn't specify like select star from movies where director equals to Quentin Tarantino, like in SQL. So here I'm asking questions using natural language, and the OpenAI can understand my natural language and then try to answer based on the knowledge it has. So basically these models are trained on a large volume of data, and it seems by January 2022, here is the list of movies. So the answer depends on up to what time these language models are trained. Okay, so after the training period, if there is any events happened, these LLMs might not be aware of those information. So here it is how we can interact with the ChatGPT behind the scenes. It will talk to OpenAI APIs and then give the response. So now if you go to platform.openai.com, you can see this website where we can see various documentation, and then we can see API reference. So basically here we simply ask this question and it gave this answer, right? So behind the scenes, what is happening is it is calling this, if you take a look at this endpoints, here is a chat endpoints, and here if you take a look at it, so this is a chat completion API endpoint which takes open API key, and then this is the input. We are going to say what is the model that we want to use and what is the actual input, and it will try to understand the question and try to answer, and this is the response format. So basically this is nothing but interacting with the RESTful APIs behind the scenes. Okay, so because this is a simple RESTful APIs, we can actually call these APIs from our Java application, for that matter from any language. Okay, so first let us see how we can invoke these API endpoints and get the similar answers like this from our Java application. Okay, here is a simple Java program that interacts with the OpenAI chat API endpoints, and here we are creating some Java records that represents the request payload and response payloads. Here earlier we have seen, so this is the API endpoint and this is the request payload, which contains like model, messages, and user role, and then content which contains actual question, and then it will respond with this payload which contains choices that contains the actual response, and then usage, prompt to tokens, how many tokens are used, things like that. So we have created the Java models that represents these request and response payloads here. So here message, chat request, and chat usage, chat response choice. So these are all the models that are representing this request and response payloads. And once we have them, here is how we are constructing a message. So our role is user, and we are asking list all the movies directed by Quentin Tarantino, and then we are creating a chat request, and using JSON library, we are converting our Java object into a JSON representation, and then we are using Java HTTP client to make an API call to this API endpoint, and we are specifying authorization. So before invoking this OpenAI APIs, we need to create a OpenAI API key. I'll just explain how to create it, and then we are sending the content type as JSON, and then we are accepting JSON format based response, and then we are posting this to this API endpoint, and then once we receive the response, we are converting back into our Java bin, and then we are printing this response answer. So now let me run this application. So this is the question I asked, and it is going to talk to OpenAI, and then it is responding with all the list of movies that are directed by Tarantino. Okay, so one thing that we need to understand is how do we create this OpenAI API key. So when you go to platform.openai.com, here let us log in into this. So once you log in, here you need to create API keys here. So I have already created one key, but if you want to create a new key, here you can give the name, and then it will create a new key, and then you take the key value, and here in our program we are getting the value from system environment variable with this name. So I have exported this key as a system environment variable to keep it secret. Okay, so that is how you can create an OpenAI API key and then use it to invoke the API endpoints. But now you have seen how verbose and low level code it is. It's all like interacting with the databases using plain JDBC code. It works, but it is very low level and requires a lot of boilerplate coding. So this is where libraries like LangChain4j helps, where it provides a higher level abstraction and make it very simple to interact with these large language models. So next we are going to see how we can leverage LangChain4j to interact with these OpenAI APIs in a much simpler way. LangChain4j is a Java library that can help you to build AI-based applications. So basically there is a Python-based LangChain library that can help you to build AI-powered applications, and LangChain4j is a JVM port of Python's LangChain library. So here you can see you can using LangChain4j you can interact with a wide range of LLMs like OpenAI, Hugging Face, Llama, and Azure OpenAI and Vertex and things like that. And also it has integrations with most popular frameworks like Spring Boot and Quarkus, etc. And also it provides various other features that will make it very easy to interact with the LLMs. Okay, so first let us try to see how we can use LangChain4j to talk to the OpenAI APIs. So here I have created a simple Maven based application and I am using LangChain4j dependency and I am going to use OpenAI. So I have added this dependency of LangChain4j OpenAI, and then I have configured logback for logging and JUnit5 for tests. So it is a simple Maven based application with these dependencies. So once I have these dependencies, I am creating a simple program where I am getting the OpenAI API key from system environment variable, like the way we used in our other Java application. And then I am creating a chart language model. So here, because I am going to use OpenAI, I am creating an instance of chart language model from OpenAI chart model dot and with API key. So here I can provide additional parameters also, but right now this is sufficient. So once I have the model reference, I can make an API call using simple model.generate API call and then provide my user message here. So I am providing the same message and then I am printing the answer here. So let me run this application. So behind the scenes, LangChain4j will take care of making the API call and getting the response, and here we can see we got the same response here. And there is one cool thing about LangChain4j is, while exploring this LangChain4j library, instead of creating an account on OpenAI and then using it, you can use this a demo key which works for a certain set of scenarios, but for some use cases you need actual OpenAI key. But now without having this key also, you can use this demo key and then try to invoke this. But not all the API endpoints work with this demo key, but some of them works. So if you are just exploring LangChain4j, you can use this OpenAI key demo and you can work with this. So here you can see it will give the response. So this is how simple it is using LangChain4j. We have seen how to work with OpenAI, but it is a commercial product, which means when you create a new account, you will be given some free credits and you will be able to use those credits and then make API calls. But after those credits are over, you need to buy new credits and then you will be able to invoke APIs. But while trying to learn generative AI and all, you might want to use something that is coming for free. So here Ollama is another open source large language model that you can run locally, and it is completely free. So here you can go to ollama.com and here you can download depending on which operating system you are using. And then once you start this Ollama, so here on my Mac I have already started Ollama, and then you need to run one of the supporting models. Here there is a Gemma and Llama 2. So here I am currently running Llama 2. So once I started this Ollama application, I will go to console, and then I need to run this Ollama run llama 2. So this will pull this model and then run as part of this Ollama LLM. So now I'll be able to use this instead of using OpenAI, and I can use the LangChain4j to interact with this large language model. So assuming you install this Ollama and then you run this command to run this particular llama model, and let us see how we can interact with this llama model instead of OpenAI from LangChain4j. Okay, so here first thing we need to do is let us go to our sample application, and here you can see we have added this LangChain4j OpenAI dependency because we were talking to OpenAI APIs. So now we are going to add this llama Ollama. Okay, so here we have added this. Now we will be able to use Ollama instead of OpenAI. So here let me comment out these three. So here I am creating chat language model instance using Ollama chat model, and then specify localhost 11434. This is where Ollama is running. Let us go ahead and invoke this URL. Here you can see Ollama is running. So that is the endpoint that we can use. So now this we have created chat language model, and then we can ask the question like, now if I run this application here, so here you can see we got the response. So that is how you can use open source Ollama instead of OpenAI for learning purposes. We have just scratched the surface, and there is a lot more features offered by LangChain4j. We are going to explore more features in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.